Welcome back. You're watching 101. We're talking with Saudi media personality Muna AbuSulayman. We talked earlier about your family life and the way they influenced you and the very progressive thinkers. But when you started a career in TV, what did they say?
Well, my family, actually the only person I took permission of, and this is very strange, I mean, I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I was offered this job and I want to do it. And the only reason I'm coming to ask for your permission is that he's very well known to begin with, but it's going to be your name under my picture, and I want to make sure it's okay with you. And he said, I'm a very private person, I don't think that TV is the right place for you, but this is your life, you make your decision. And most people would say that if a father says this, he's like really putting pressure on you not to do it. But with my dad, really it was, it's your decision, I'm a private person, do whatever you want. And so I was on TV, and then my ex-husband said, well, how come you didn't ask my permission? I said, well, your name is not going to be there. Nobody knows anything about you. Why would I ask for your permission for that? So that was a very strange...
Interestingly enough, though, you didn't originally go to audition for a show, to host the show. You wanted to be a writer, didn't you? Oh,
yes. I actually do hope that one day I'll eventually end up as a writer. When the show started, the concept of the show started, they said they needed people. I said, well, I'd love to write for it. And they said, it's in Arabic. And I said, okay, because my Arabic writing is not that great. Then I thought I'll be, head of research or do things like that, because I love the view which our show is based on. And they said, why don't you do a screen test? We need a Saudi. And I thought, I have a very soft voice. I don't do TV. I haven't done any media training. I thought, it'll be fun. I'll see what how a show is done, and it'll be fun, and I'll leave, and I'll never think about it again. And I went, and I had a great time with the crew. Left, went traveling afterwards, didn't even give them my number, and they tracked me down and they said, where are you? We're taping in 3 days. And I'm like, okay, I'll show up. And so I thought, I'll do a couple of shows and I'll leave them. And because I'm not a media personality, it took me 3 years to realize I'm not leaving that show.
Do you think it's the fact that you took that approach to it that allowed you to tackle the very controversial subjects you were willing to take? Because you really were willing to talk about taboo issues.
We did a lot of topics that were not done on TV at the time, and they were not done by a Saudi, and I understand the Saudi culture, so I do know what are the taboos, I do know where are the red lines, and at the same time, the way that I approach a subject, and this is from the first day, well, not first day, maybe the first week, is that I look at what is it the goal that I want to reach, what is it that the audience should learn from this subject, and maybe we do 5 segments and I really only care about one, usually the social issue segment, and I would go and say, this is what I want people to come out with, that idea, and I make sure that whatever I'm asking, the questions do lead up to the audience realizing that point. So that was, it gives you power. It makes you feel that you can actually help people see things more clearly. And one of the things that we did that was very instrumental in my realization of the power of media is child abuse. Because when we did the first segment and we brought the mother of the child that was abused, the lawyer, and we discussed how it happened and the ramifications of it, very soon afterwards, this wasn't discussed anywhere on TV, very soon afterwards, there was a legislation that took place that almost verbatim did what we said should be done. And I thought, wow, so when you hit the nail right, it will strike.
How did the Saudi audiences react to you as well? At what point did you feel your life had changed because people really were aware you were there?
Almost immediately, because you start getting a lot of people recognizing you, and you start having people stop you on the street, and it was very disconcerting for my kids, because especially my young daughter, she was around 2 at the time, and all these people would approach us in public places, and she would get very scared. Why are these people aware of my name? Why do they know my name? Why are they asking about me? And I'd be like, because they know you from TV, and she didn't get that concept. The other thing is that the Saudi public, I have to admit, are not rude. They will not interrupt you when you're eating. They will not interrupt you if you're having a moment with your child, or if you're, shopping for food or doing things. They will really pick time that you would be receptive to their attention.
So it's not too intrusive, really?
They're not too intrusive. When I travel outside of Saudi Arabia, it gets sometimes intrusive, but not in Saudi Arabia.
What's your, tackling the Saudi issues and tackling Arab issues and Muslim issues as you do, what do you feel personally is the biggest factor misunderstood about Muslim women?
about Muslim women? Well, there's things that I even misunderstood. For example, because I lived in the States for a very long period of time, I was brainwashed into thinking that Muslim women have no opportunities. So therefore, for a significant amount of years in my adult life, I was taking every job that would be offered because I'd be like, oh, that's an opportunity I can't let go because I'll never know if there's another opportunity that was come, and I would do this and I would do that, and suddenly I realized there are a lot of opportunities. I can actually pick and choose what I want to do for me as a Saudi. The other thing about Islam is that people think that just because I wear the scarf, I'm not intelligent. It's almost like having a southern accent to the 10th degree, that I can't be somebody who makes her own choices, that I am actually part of a cult or somebody who lives a very secluded life, and it's simply not true.
As the first Saudi woman to become nominated a Goodwill Ambassador for the United Nations Development Programme, what were you expected to do? What was the expectation of you?
Well, it's a ceremonial role. I mean, this is one thing. In Saudi Arabia, I'm expected to travel around, make people aware of the 8 Millennium Goals. So I go and I give lectures at universities, public places, schools, and we discuss these things. We do projects that make people aware of, the importance of environmentalism or being, healthy as a mother, a pregnant mother. You go and you open a lot of centers for handicapped children or for orphans. So it's really ceremonial. We don't have lobbying like they would in the States or in other countries.
As if you didn't have enough on your plate, you decided to become executive director of the Kingdom Foundation, which was set up by the Kingdom holding company, Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, very well known in Saudi Arabia, of course. What got you involved with that? And again, what were the expectations of that job? It's basically a charitable organization.
Yes, it's a philanthropy. I mean, this is basically the philanthropic arm of Al-Walid bin Talal. I used to work with him in Kingdom Holding. I was the head of strategic studies, and I was given the assignment of doing the first centers in the U.S. I guess I did such a good job that he actually offered me the foundation. The foundation has been very challenging because I had to build it up from zero. So, decide which format it's going to take and how it's going to be handled. And of course, there's a vision that he has for empowering women in the region that we needed to apply in the right manner. Hiring people for the job. He is very passionate about Islam and West dialogue, which is the reason that I worked with him in the beginning. It's something that I'm also passionate about. I share that vision of academic centers of learning, really helping change the perceptions of the other, whether it's in the East or in the West. So I think that accepting that job was part of, me saying that I actually can make a difference. Everything I do is not just about having a job. It's about an opportunity to make a difference on TV. It's about bringing awareness to a lot of people who may not be able to have access to research that we do. In the Kingdom Foundation, it's about choosing projects that are strategic, that can really help change either perceptions of Islam in the West, perceptions of the West in the Islamic East, of empowering women in the right way. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, I really do enjoy it. How many people can say they get to spend Al-Walid's money? I have the perfect job in the world.
So the time comes, and you're a young woman. It's always awkward asking someone who's young and achieving so much about the future and looking so far ahead. But if you could project ahead and you was to say, I've done the things I want to, how would you like to be remembered? What would you like your legacy to be?
The most important thing is that I was a good mother. I mean, if I fail at that, then I failed at everything else. Nothing matters if I'm not a good mother. If I achieve that, then, I'd like to think that all the centers that we've helped create all over the world, almost 7 now, and growing, all the good things that could come out of it, tolerance, good public policy for the rest of the world of how to treat each other, studies that would show how to integrate Muslims in the West in a way that is really applicable and that would reduce tensions and help them economically and financially to be more like the rest of Europe, then I think I would have done a great thing.
You've set yourself a lot of tasks. I wish you a long and blessed life, Muna. Thank you very much for talking with us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.